Strap yourself in because it is a really big day on gaming news. If you own some gaming NFTs, you might be about to get rugged. Sandbox is having a contest this week that could see you take home $50K, and Illuvium has some pretty exciting leaks. All that and more coming right up. What's up, gamers? My name's Mike and I'm your host here at Fungible Games. This is a new channel, so make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell because we've got a lot of exciting things coming your way. Well, diving right into it, we may have just seen our first rug pull from a VC-backed game. Yes, Neopets is causing some controversy right now because in 2021, they started their metaverse dream. They launched some NFTs, they talked about building a metaverse type game, and with names like Polygon and Avalanche, it gave the community some confidence that something real was gonna happen. But actually, just a couple days ago, they announced that they were canceling the project. So what happens at this point? We've got kind of two sides to the thing. One is VCs, are they getting rug pulled? And two, the community. And of course, why is this all happening? Why did the game get canceled? Well, if you don't know what Neopets is, it's been around for a long time, started in 1999, acquired by Viacom in 2005, and it was kind of run by corporations for the past 19 years. But essentially, it's a browser-based game where you get a little pet, it has some attributes, you can give it a name, and you kind of live the world with it. So it's kind of just like a 2D world game where there's no actual end goal of like defeating bosses or anything like that, but it's more of like you build a community, you have your pet, and then you live life through your pet. So you have to make sure if it's getting sick, you heal it. You have to make sure you give it exercise and things like that. It has been around since the early 2000s, so it's one of those style games. So here's where the big conflict come in. They talked about creating a metaverse game, NFT element, play to earn, you know, all those big things. So that's when they got all their investment from the community in form of selling 9,000 NFTs. The floor price of those is about 2 Solana, so around $50, and it can go up to $500 per NFT. So needless to say, the community has already spent a lot of money on this across the 9,000 collectibles. And on top of that, Polygon, Avalanche, and a few others have put $4 million of their old money into this. How can they be canceling everything? So it turns out there's a whole bunch of entities under NetDragon that controlled everything. And then just recently, a new company called World of Neopia has taken it over. So this is why everything's changing. They're looking at it, they're seeing the community they already have. They've been around for over 20 years and they're thinking, well, I see that our predecessors have started on this NFT crypto gaming type thing, but we're taking this over. We just want to have one singular focus of this game. And we've heard from our community, and as you guys probably know, a lot of people in traditional gaming are not ready for NFTs and play to earn. They just want to keep their simple browser-based game and stick to it. So all that came together, and then they made the harsh decision. They're cutting from everything. Well, unfortunately, it does look like people are getting rug pulled, but they're doing it in a nice way, if you can do a nice way. So for the VCs who put up the $4 million, they're still going to get equity. So now it's not going to be in the way they thought, where it's going to be a crypto-based game and, you know, they'd have NFTs and could sell assets and then could convert game tokens into US dollars. That doesn't exist anymore. But they are going forward on creating that new game. The first one is coming out on mobile, and on mobile, as you probably know, there's all these options to build things and they can go faster. So if you don't want to wait like 24 hours for your new home to develop, you can pay like $5 and it'll happen in 20 minutes and things like that. So for these type of investors, they want the game to be successful so they can get that type of revenue coming in. However, for the community, the crypto people, the people that made this thing come alive, they're getting rugged, but like I said, in a nice way. So Neopets already announced that they're going to allow you to keep your NFTs, and the Discord community is already going to be there, and then they might share some nice Easter eggs with you and give you some early access, maybe one day invite you out to a fan game. But the reason why NFTs are created, especially for a game that's been around for over 20 years, is you want to have price speculation. So all these people who bought into these NFTs for price speculation, and maybe they'll be able to be in in-game access later, they've already told everybody there's no in-game access. So now the only reason to hold an NFT is Discord. But wait a minute, if you're in crypto, Discord is helpful. But this game already has a massive community of like 100,000 players, 20,000 of which are fairly active. And on their websites, neopets.com, they already have a full interactive forum where everybody's all there anyway. So while they are saying all these niceties, for the people who just got in from the crypto side, they're gonna get rugged because there's literally no point to these NFTs anymore. So where do we go from here? If you're looking at this from a crypto perspective, I mean, technically, legally, we can't call it a rug pull because they're keeping the marketplace open and you can buy and sell, and there's future projections, maybe they'll do something with it. But as of right now, their only course of action, cancel all that metaverse stuff and just create a mobile game. But also, they don't have a good track record on their mobile games either. They're just build a world, pay for things to speed up, and that's it. No mini games, no fun. So I hope they're gonna change going forward because, like I said, their track record isn't good. I don't know if you've been to the Neopets website, but it's still stuck in the early 2000s. Links don't work, even just the generic look of it, it doesn't look. And then also I spent some time in the community and I went through like people who make YouTube videos about Neopets, and the ones that are actually active on this, all they care about is browser-based game. They don't want mobile games. They don't want a 3D interactive world game. Their whole community is now people who started when they were really young and now in their 30s. So I guess if Neopets wants to go try a marketing campaign and get a brand new audience for mobile games, and if they can make an actual good mobile game, there's a chance. But it's one of those things where the non-crypto Neopets community, they've already got what they want. They just need refresh. So the $4 million can go a long way to that. Or is it going to be something where they actually have to target a new market and for the first time actually make a real mobile game instead of just all these copycats that fail? So for right now, it looks like there's a lot to be developed. You came in from the crypto side, bad news, sorry. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But from the Neopets side, now they've got a new company where their only focus is to make Neopets as awesome as possible. So hopefully they learn the mistakes of their predecessors, they refresh the website, they make a mobile game that isn't a copy and what people actually want. And next up is Illuvium, where they recently had a town hall meeting where they discussed adoption. And this time it is great news for beginner, intermediate, and advanced players alike. What they're going to do now to give you more of that full immersive experience and actually show you what Illuvium is like, especially in the arena and playing and fighting with Illuvials. So they're going to try this thing where every week they're going to have a new batch of weapons and Illuvials so you can test out different combos and see what you like fighting the best. So this is good because it helps players try new things, learn more what's out there. It lets new players come in and for free try different combos. But what's going to be great for the economy is at the end of the week, that selection will end. So what this does, if you want to keep sticking with that Illuvial that you tried and build out a battle strategy around that, so now when the week comes to an end, you have to buy into that. So that's where it's great because it gives you new options, but also should bring more money into the ecosystem and has a better chance of keeping beginner players there longer since there's more options. So because of the graphics and innovative decisions like they made here, Illuvium could be the first game to really bring mainstream gamers over into the cryptoverse. And when you're doing that, you want to check out game reviews and things like that, right? So let's just quickly go here to the Fungible website. And what we need to start happening is to get more and more user reviews. So if you have played Illuvium, come on over to the website and add it. But if you haven't, or if you just want to check out games and you're not ready to leave reviews for yourself yet, what we have here is editorial reviews. So one, you can see what we rate it, but we also leave editorial reviews of games so you know what to expect before you even dive in. Or if you want to know a little bit more, we can see here we have Dennis, what his notes are, so maybe you might learn something along the way. So we start off with 4 main categories. We have graphics, gameplay, story, and economy. And Dennis has done a really good job breaking down everything. I love how he took additional time to talk about the arena and the overworld. And for me, it just let me think of new strategies. Like he said, he spent a lot of time diving into figuring out how the cards work together. So Fungible Games is a great place for you to come and check out new titles or read up on ones like Illuvium that you've already heard of. And Playboy and the Sandbox have some really exciting news too. It's probably the biggest giveaway I've ever heard of because of the potential. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but Playboy started getting into the Metaverse NFT game back in 2021 when it launched its NFT series. But now it's partnering with the Sandbox to create its own meta mansion, and that's supposed to be a virtual reality world with casinos, things like that, just to give you that immersive experience. And there might be a VR element, so we'll have to see what comes from that. But if you're interested in creating these kind of virtual worlds in the Sandbox and you have experience doing that, they have a crazy contest right now. So they're giving away 50,000 sand, and it's broken up across a few categories, but the biggest thing that caught my eye was first, second, and third. First is getting 10,000 sand. So at the time of recording, that's around $4,300, but we're pretty close to the bottom of the bear market. So if you hold that for 1 to 2 years, whenever things start to turn around, and we're assuming Sandbox gets a minimum 10x, if not more than that. So just think about that for a second. If you spend some time building that virtual world, they talk about a party theme, we'll link the article below so you can check it out for yourself. You could win up to $50,000 or a lot more just from creating this one virtual world. Entries are due at the end of July, so make sure you get on it now. And on the trend of making money, this next one is awesome for my fellow speculators out there. We've got some big news coming out from Crypto.com, Cronos, and Ubisoft's partnership. So they've worked together a few times in the past, and it was for things like, you know, some NFT collaborations, and then in Crow's incubator system coming in as advisory for new startups and things like that. But now they've come together and reached a bigger partnership agreement, and I think this means some pretty big things coming up. So first, we're gonna briefly touch on some of their partnerships together that they've done, but then we're gonna dive into what I think will be very interesting for you speculators. So back in 2021, we saw the first partnerships, things like Ubisoft using Tezos-based weapons in their NFT system for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint on PC. And then earlier in May, Ubisoft partnered with Integral Reality Labs to create Assassin's Creed NFT collectibles on Polygon. So now for today's news is where it actually gets interesting. So Cronos is now actually partnering with Crypto.com. So before it was more advisory and NFTs with other projects, but now Ubisoft itself is putting its own stake in Crypto.com. It's running validator nodes. And when you're putting money into something and partnering at that level, you know, you've got a lot more planning and foresight going into this. So for us speculators in a bear market, it really gives us the chance to think. So before I dive too much into this, we don't know the full story. Back in November, Crow plummeted down to 3 cents. FTX was collapsing. A lot of sketchy things were happening at that point. So I'm not an insider. Crow could be bankrupt right now. I have no idea. But for the rest of this, I'm gonna go on the assumption that they're not, and what we could see in the future. So if you were paying attention in 2021, Crow did some pretty impressive moves. It was staying fairly stagnant as the bull run was going. It was known for payment processing, exchange, and things like that. But then around end of February, early March, they made their announcement of their burn mechanism and their price exploded. They brought up new loyalty program rewards for their Crypto.com credit card. That's bringing in more adoption for both crypto people and non-crypto people alike. Then they dove into partnerships, partnering with Formula One, which has tons of money, as well as making the American public familiar with them, getting involved with things like football, and then many other sports, and then also sponsoring an arena in LA. So needless to say, they've done a lot. Let's just dive into the chart for a second. So as you can see here, in around the end of February, early March, this is when the burn mechanism started and the price really started to rally. We heard more and more about this credit card rewards. We died off a little bit. And then during that massive run that we saw in fall of 2021, when gaming projects, everything was exploding, we also saw Crypto.com go up because they got huge up into the mainstream media. But at the time, it was more of like, because they were buying stadiums, they were spending money on marketing, but it wasn't because they had a huge product. I mean, the credit card and all that is great, but it wasn't something huge. Now, fast forward, other than the little blip that we saw during the FTX collapse in November when it briefly went down to 3 cents, it's been hanging around here and around sub 6 cents for a while. So kind of near at their all-time low. And so this is where I want to get into the speculation of it. So because they're doing so much and we're near this all-time low, it gives us the opportunity for some speculation. So let me just dive back into the chart here and show you Engine. So for those who aren't familiar, Engine Coin is more, they're not sponsoring Formula One and things like that. They're more in the gaming space. So it's a company that provides an ecosystem for interconnected blockchain products. So essentially they're known as the gaming blockchain. So in crypto, unless you're part of Bitcoin and Ethereum from the beginning, one thing that you'll learn, as Ivan on Tech says, is everything is all about the pumpamentals. So when we saw these two big talks about gaming, we saw massive price appreciation going from 20 cents all the way to like $4 at the peak. That was Engine, which is an OG project. So what I've started to see more and more over these past 6 years is these OG products don't really stand the test of time. I'll be honest, I haven't done deep dives in Engine in a while, but all I'm trying to say here is crypto.com is at its all-time low. So me as an investor, what I'm looking at is risk for reward and what the future holds. So again, I can't tell the future. They could be bankrupt, and I don't know what's going on at Engine and things like that. But considering a big partnership with Ubisoft, which is one of the biggest game creators for as long as I can remember, I loved playing Assassin's Creed and Tom Clancy games. Those were always so much fun. Now they've got like another 15 years of game advancement on top of that and partnering with Crow. So I can only speculate that we're gonna see a gaming blockchain. So not only do you have crypto on-ramps, an amazing marketing team, but you've got a gaming engine. So it might take several years to build this out, and like you have to keep that in mind. You never know when the needle goes up, but it's just something to think about. And when you're starting to research your own projects, these are the types of things you want to look into. But for now, that brings us to the end of this video, but we have another one coming out for you tomorrow. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on that bell notification so you don't miss time-sensitive videos, and I'll see you tomorrow.